our first demo is around service automation. Service usually starts with it's engaging a customer, a patient, somebody else in an organization. Can be internal, external, whoever it may be, but somehow you need to engage them and collect information about who they are, what they need. Whether it's internal, external, we've got multiple modalities that are out there, from cell phones and laptops, virtual environments, multiple kinds of browsers, doesn't matter. We can accomplish all of these things with this approach. So we'll skip out of the slideware and let's take a look. This first group where our service automation will be taking place, we're going to emulate an HR training group. The training group, they offer services, training classes to the organization on request. Now, this is just one example. Think about it from your own perspective where you know, hey, I need to just do that initial intake. Then I need to go through an internal process to organize, approve, deliver on that service. Then I want to follow up with my customer. There are many, many steps that are involved in that. So this group, we're working here in a channel in Teams, and we'll kind of explore some of these tabs that we have up here that the group works with. But let's start from a customer perspective. So customers come into my HR website. It's a training page. I have some training things available right out of the gate. But now I can also scroll on down the page and I have my training request form. You'll notice it's a very simple form. This one, it actually only even shows 3 questions. So let's just start. And we'll start filling these out. So we've got some free text. We can do choices with radio buttons. I can do drop downs. Now watch when I'll scroll up a little bit. When I select my benefits class, using some branching logic, then I'm able to, based on the response to question 3, then surface up question 4 and additional follow-on questions that will be required. Now I have, this is called a like RT question, is the technical name for it, but really just an array that allows me to do different choices. I can do a date picker. We'll say I want my training Thursday. We'll have a class size. Apologize for my own typing. I also have some rating options, so I can rate my experience right here, or I can do a net promoter score rating, which is more of a loyalty rating. And either way, I can just use these as examples of information I can collect even with my initial engagement with this customer. So very good. Now I have a customer who has requested something. Great. Now what? Think about a typical approach. Maybe I get an email, something like that. Then I have to go through a lot of manual steps to record that, initiate the next steps that come through that. Let's see how we can do this from an automation perspective. So we'll go back here in my Teams, and if anybody was watching, the little number 1 just popped up there, giving me a notification saying, hey, something happened. So let's take a look. We'll first look at our training request list. So here we've got all of the data from all of the requests that have come through. There we see Lucy and her request that just came in. I'm going to scroll over to the right, and we see all the information that was collected, which is good. But now we have some additional columns here. And you'll see for the approval and even the instructor, these are not yet filled in. And we also don't yet have any kind of status here in our request status column either. But what's nice is, hey, I can track some of these things. Think about what you might go through even today. Let's say for a project process, you need an approval, then you get that in email after you've kind of badgered someone for that approval, then you print it to a PDF, maybe you store it somewhere with the project artifacts. This can be a little challenging. What popped up here, so now I'm no longer the person requesting. Now I'm the manager who's going to approve an initial request. I get this approval right here in Teams. And it comes up, I can click to go review the actual request. I can cancel, set a follow-up. I could reassign. This can also be done with, say, groups of individuals where you need everyone to approve before something proceeds, or you can do some sequential approvals, depends on what the need of your process is. We'll just make a comment in here. And approve it. Okay. What's nice is I can see my own approval, so I know what I've approved, maybe some things that are requested I haven't approved, and I need to follow up on that. But I can also come back here in my team now, and let's take a look in our request list. And if we scroll back over to the right, now my approval is now captured right in line with my initial request. So I have all this information in one spot. This is highly valuable just to be able to know what exactly is happening with any single request at one time when I can keep that information collected right here together. I not only captured the approval, but the comments. There's a time and date stamp on here, who the approver was, and the email. Great. Now we've got an approved session. We need an instructor. So we'll switch gears here. And now I'm going to be Adele. Adele is one of our trainers. And so once I approved this behind the scenes, you see I've got my notification there in chat. Power Automate, that's part of our Power Platform that's kind of running the show behind the scenes and helping me with all these tasks I used to have to do manually, sent me a card. This is an interactive card where I can come in, accept the class assignment. Now, this card here, this is a relatively simple one. I can simply accept or decline it. These can be much more advanced to suit specific needs using adaptive cards through these tools. So we'll just accept it. I'll submit the exception. And great. Now I still have kind of a record here, even in my chat, that I accepted that. And let's see. Oh, wow. My manager's quick. He already signed me a task. No, he didn't. That was our automation. Done. Manager didn't have to do anything. But what happened? Up here in our activity, we were assigned a task. I can come and see what that task is. Back in my team, I also can come in and now see in our training tracker, which is all of those tasks, that I have a new notification for the maximizing benefits class. So I have this task right here, as well as I have my training requests. So this is some good stuff. But now let's say, okay, we delivered whatever the service. We've kind of got all the way through the process. We're on the tail end. So now we're going to go in and take a look, and I'll just edit this. And I've kind of modified this form to make it easier to consume all of the data fields that are there. But I can come in and we'll just mark the request status complete. So we'll save that. Excellent. And what I really am also interested is overall, how is my service doing? So what I'll do with that is I will go check my dashboard, which I also have right here in my channel. This is where I can pull in and whatever my key performance indicators are that I really want to keep an eye on. I can come in, I can see how my MPS scores are, what my class demand is. This one is an interactive type of a dashboard. This can also be created as a drill down, so it can be far more advanced even than what I'm showing here in this demo, but hopefully we get the idea. I can also even include some filters in here. So if I wanted to know about, who's focused on life insurance, health insurance, whatever that might be that were topics available, I can start to filter in on additional data. Now, the good news is we also have included a follow-up because we want to know, what do our customers think now that the service has been provided? So in this instance, I've automatically sent Lucy an email thanking her for using our service and asking her to let us know how we did. Now I can kind of go back around, collect that input, and use that very similar way that how we do this process. So hopefully we're seeing a little bit of just from an end-to-end process perspective, how much that can actually save us in time. It's little bits of time for each one of those tasks, but cumulatively it adds up. even for this one specific group, let alone as this becomes more pervasive within your organization. So now our second demo, we're going to switch gears here, and let's go back, and we're going to talk now about some task automation. And by task, I mean action items, and action items that you take. Really, I use OneNote for keeping track of different meetings, and I am on a lot of meetings. You're probably very similar to my plight, where meetings are almost just a way of life. Well, I need to remember all these things, not just what was discussed, but especially the action items that come out of it. Some are for me. I need to follow up. I need to keep my commitments to my team, to my customers, whoever that might be. Some are for others. But how do I do this and not have it be so burdensome? Let's take a look. So we have our daily huddle with our team. We get together every single day. And if I switch back to my Outlook, I can see in my calendar, here are my daily huddle meetings. So let's just go in, we're going to go to Friday because I continue to kind of do this demo, but we'll open up the meeting invite. And here in the meeting invite, I have an option, send to OneNote. If you've never taken note of the send to OneNote button up here, I recommend it. What I am able to do is once I send it, I'll just take notes. I can select which notebook. I use a lot of notebooks with different groups or for individual. And I can select a section, and then this will actually automatically make a page for me in the section in the OneNote. So as this comes up, there we have our daily huddle meeting. We know what the date is. Friday is the 16th. I can take attendance when the meeting happens. I can come down here, take my meeting notes, and then also keep track of my action items. So now this is pretty typical and it's just text and maybe not all that exciting, but still important because we do need to track these. Think about the poor people tasked with taking meeting minutes, having to send all this out and then follow up on these things or manually put the tasks in some tracker somewhere else. So what we're going to do today, let's just say, we agree we need to review marketing materials and we need to approve the project plan. Within the OneNote application, what I'm able to do is if I highlight a string of text, I can flag it as an Outlook task. So we'll just flag each one of these. And this has been around for a while. This is not any type of extra magic or super tech. It's just an integration that exists between OneNote and Outlook. So when I come back to Outlook and I look in my task list, I see right down here in the bottom right, review marketing materials and approve the project plan. I also have integration with what's called the To-Do app right here within my Outlook client, where I can come in, look at tasks. We see them immediately showing up. I also have other tasks that have been assigned through different means. Some of them, they might be through the planner tool that's part of Office 365. They might just be my own personal tasks where I have to remember to pick up my dry cleaner or something to that effect. But now this part, probably not most people's favorite, doing task management through Outlook. It does have quite a bit of power to it, but it's a little cumbersome, maybe slightly outdated, but it's still there and it still has value. Now, if we take this a step further, I'm going to take those tasks that were there in Outlook and let's take a look at our task list. What's happened behind the scenes, those tasks were automatically created as, and this is just a list item similar to the last list we were looking at with the HR customers, where now inside of my team, I'm able to see these tasks. I can have additional columns that are associated to them for follow-up and whatever that information might be. Or I can use the Planner app right here as a tab within my channel where I've got these. And this is a Kanban style board, so I can kind of move these around into the correct buckets and bring them over. Very good. Now I'm able to update these and I can update. Oops, I actually just closed that. There was a bit of an accident, but I can update these that we can set a progress, other notes, attachments, task lists that are part of what that overall task is. And I can do the same thing over here in my list, where we'll go into the approve the project plan. And when I edit that, I can also here change the status to completed. And now you'll notice review marketing materials was already updated to be completed. So I didn't want things that are updated in one location to then be estranged from their kind of twin task in the other. Most of the time, you probably would not use both of these in the same situation like this. You would agree on here's how we're going to manage our tasks. Sometimes it's good to have both. Sometimes you just use one or the other. But for demonstration purposes, wanted to show, hey, this is how we update these. And if all things are running well, we've got at least one has come through. The automation sometimes takes a minute, but notice we've already got review marketing materials is already got a green check mark next to it. Approve the project plan will also get a green check mark next to it in OneNote very soon, so that we're keeping all things in sync. That also updates Outlook, so the task list in Outlook does that as well. As part of this, then we also send an encouraging message out to the team. Great job completing this particular task. So hopefully we're seeing a little bit of just how this can help us personally, how this can help us within our team or broader groups, when we really have to keep track of a lot of these different action items. Can be a little overwhelming sometimes when we have all these OneNote pages with all these notes and we've kept the action items, but hey, where are they? How do I find them? What do I do with them and make sure that they're followed through on? So we can use the automation tools really here to do that.